Hello everyone, welcome to another English Solutions for Business and Life video. Today we will be looking at Full Blast Level A1.2, Module 0, Hello. We'll start by looking at three different verbs, to be, to have, and can, their positive, their negative, and their question forms, as well as prepositions for place, possessive adjectives, and question words. So let's begin. First, we will begin by looking at the verb to be. The positive form is as follows. For example, I am a student. You are my son. Here we have the verb to be as am, and here it's are. He is my father. We can also shorten these forms by eliminating the vowels before the consonants and placing an apostrophe. So, I am a student will become I'm a student. You are my son will become you're my son. He is my father will become he's my father. We normally use these shortened forms when we are speaking and not when we are writing. Let's look at the different conjugations for each of the personal nouns. I am. You are. He is. She is. It is. We are. You are. They are. And their shortened forms: I'm, you're, his, she's, it's, we're, you're, and they're. Now let's look at the negative form of the verb to be. With the negative form, we will add a not after the positive form. For example, he is not is the negative form of he is. He is not a policeman. Also, the shortened form would be taking out the no part and adding an apostrophe between the verb to be form and what's left. For example, he isn't a policeman. Let's look at another example. I am not would be the negative form of I am. I am not your father. Let's look at the shortened form of I am. I'm not your father. Here, notice that it's different. I'm not shortens the I am and adds the not at the end. You aren't shortens the no not at the end, replaces the O with an apostrophe. Now let's look at the conjugation with the other subjects. He isn't, also she isn't, and it isn't. They're all conjugated the same way. We aren't, you aren't, they aren't. These were the shortened forms for the verb to be and the negative form. Now, remember that we use the shortened forms when speaking and not when writing. When writing, you should use the full form, such as I am not, or he is not, as we saw in the previous examples. Now let's look at the question form. In the question forms, we will place the positive form and change the places of the verb and the subject so that they are turned around. For example, I am becomes am I. You are becomes are you. So let's look at some examples of these. Is it a fish? It's a question form of it is a fish. You see that we turned around the place of the subject and the verb with it and is changing places. This is a question. So, is it a fish? We would answer yes, it is. Notice that we don't only say yes. We have to add the affirmative or the positive form of the verb to be when we are asked a verb to be question. So the correct answer would be yes, it is. Now let's look at a short conversation between two people. Am I John? Yes, you are. So notice here the subject is I, the verb being am. Am I John is the question form because they are turned round. We would answer yes, you are. The subject followed by the verb because it's a positive form. Now let's look at the verb to have. The positive form of the verb to have is as follows. For example, I have a dog. He has a cat. There are only two different ways of conjugating the verb to have in the positive form, one being have and the other being has. We use have for I, you, we, and they. So, I have, you have, we have, and they have. We use the has conjugation with he has, she has, it has. As you saw in the example, or the examples, we use the have verb to show possession. I have a dog means the dog is mine. He has a cat means the cat is his. Let's now look at the negative form of the verb to have. For this we will need the auxiliary verb to do, and we will place it as the negative form of the verb to do. This form would go between the subject and the verb to have. Here, for example, I being the subject and have being the verb. We use the auxiliary form or the auxiliary verb don't to show a negative. I don't have a cat. He doesn't have a dog. As you can see, we use the subject, the negative form of the verb to do, and the verb to have. You can also notice that it's the same conjugation of have in both sides. For questions, we would use also the auxiliary verb to do. For example, we would first place do or does depending on the subject, then the subject, and then the verb to have. So first the auxiliary form, then the subject, and then have. For example, do you have? Do you have a baseball hat? We would answer this question by saying, yes, I do, not yes, I have. Why? Because the question we asked had a do. Yes, I do. Now let's look at verb can. This is probably the easiest verb to be conjugated in this topic, because we merely place the subject and then the word can. For example, he can dance, meaning that he is able to dance. I can. As you can see, it's the same word, can. There is no conjugation. I can jump, meaning I am able to jump. Now let's look at a negative example. I can will have a not after it when it is a negative form. In this case, I cannot dance, meaning I am not able to dance. And the shortened form would be the same as the previous shortened forms, taking out the O, but in this case, because can ends with an N, we will take out another N, and it would turn into can't. I can't dance, meaning I am not able to dance. And remember that we only use this when speaking and not when writing. Now let's look at the question form of the verb can. First, we place the verb, then the subject, and then the activity that the subject is able to do. In this case, let's look at an example. Can you fly? You being the subject and fly being the verb. Can you fly? Let's look at another example. Can she swim? We're asking if she is able to swim. Can I cook? Here we are asking if I am able to cook. We would answer this question the same way we answered the previous questions. Yes, I can. Yes, and after it, the positive form of the verb, I can. The same is true for the previous examples. Can you fly? No, I can't. Here I use the negative form of the verb can, and I use a negative answer, meaning that I cannot fly. Can she swim? Yes, she can. Now let's look at prepositions of place. The first one is in. For example, here the circle, the blue circle, is inside the black rectangle. The circle is in the box. In. Another example, the blue ball is inside the red house. The ball is in the house. Now let's look at on. Here, the yellow ball is on the box, meaning that it is on top. And lastly, under. Here, the small orange rectangle is under the red ball. The box is under the ball. Under. Now, these are not prepositions of place, but they are used to show objects and where they are located. For example, this box being the red box that is close to me is red. This box is red. That box, the box over there, is blue. That box is blue. The plural form of these words, these and those. These boxes are red. The boxes that are close to me. But those boxes are blue. The boxes over there. Now let's look at there is and there are. There is used to show a distance, something that is there. There is a cat on the box. The cat is on the box. It's a statement. There is a cat on the box means the same thing. The plural form would be there are. In this example, there are 5 cats on the floor. There is the singular form, and there are the plural form. Now let's have a look at possessive adjectives. He is my friend is an example. My being the possessive adjective, it shows possession. His name is John. Which one is the possessive adjective? Is? No. His. His name is John because his shows the possession of the name. For example, your house, meaning the house, is yours. For each of the different personal nouns, there is a different possessive adjective. For I, it's my father. For you, it's your cat. For he, it's his bag. For she, it's her cousin. For it, it's its. Be careful though. This is different than the verb to be conjugation because it doesn't have an apostrophe. If you write an apostrophe, it means it is, which is not a possessive adjective. They becomes their. Now let's look at some question words. Question words are used to ask questions. For example, who? Who is used to ask for a person. or a subject. We use it to ask questions about people. Who is he? Is an example. What? We use this question to ask questions about things, animals, or actions. For example, what is this? Where? We use this to ask questions about places. Where are you? How? We use this to ask the way something is done. How are you? I'm good, thank you. How old? We use this to ask the age of someone or something. How old is she? She's 13 years old. When or what time? We use these two different question words to ask about the time. For example, when is the concert? How many? We use these question words to ask about the number or quantity of something. For example, how many brothers do you have? Well, I have one. Thank you very much. This is all there is for the grammar part of this module. In this module, we also learned some important words like aunt, cousin. My aunt's son is my cousin. Daughter, son. My aunt's daughter and son are both my cousins. Uncle. My aunt's husband is my uncle. So, husband would be another word. Wife. Husband and wife. When my dad and my mom got married, they became husband and wife. We also saw some other words like furniture. For example, shelf, which is where you would put your books, like a dictionary. We also saw closet, which is where you would put your clothes, like your baseball hat. So the books go in the shelf and the clothes go in the closet. Also some other vocabulary words like butterfly and goldfish, as well as male. For example, boy. A boy is a male and a girl would be a female. Did you understand all these? Did you understand all these words? Well, that's it for today. Again, thank you very much. And we will see you on the next video.